So everything hit the fan. Keeping out of water back. Avalon's not eating anything. She has trash to get rid of. We found like mouse poison under her bed. Max crying because he won't eat. We're in my in-laws' house because the camper's hot. It was like thing after thing for 2 hours straight. And I got into the camper and I just started crying because I was like, oh my gosh, that was the craziest 2 hours of my life. And I know I am not the only one that just had an insane day or an insane week or an insane whatever. And I just want to acknowledge all of us for being here today and not showing like super easy and things are in flow, but also when things feel like really challenging. And it takes, and of course, yes, there's a time to rest. And there's also a time to, take a break when we need, but hey, I don't know. I just feel like we should celebrate that. So
Hey, Bethany, we lost you, honey.
On top of everything else, her Wi-Fi is not working. But we love you, Bethany.
okay, you guys, I'm on my phone and I'm going to introduce you really quick, Kimmy. This is just absolutely ridiculous that now my Wi-Fi is not working. Mom, if I cut out, will you take over and introduce Kimmy for me? But you guys, we have just such a treat today. Kimmy Brooke is one of those people who, when you're in the room with her, you feel her energy. She shows up at a level 10 and her level 10 has clearly been crafted and worked on. And recently I've been a part of Mom, I'm sorry, I have your screen like highlighted for everyone. I don't know how I did that. So okay, add spotlight. Now it's you and me, Mom. So recently I've been a part of this Unleash Her Power Within, and it's just a program for personal development. Last week they had us map out like our top 8 role models, and Kimmy, you are on that list for me. And I just want to say thank you for being such a light and a powerful person. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the baton to you. Just take it as long as you want to go tonight. We appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Bethany. You always get me emotional, I tell ya. And I love that song that you were playing as I hopped on. It was about telling your story and not forgetting to leave out any of the good parts. And, sometimes I get so excited, I do leave out some of the good parts. So I want to do my best to share all of my story with you guys so that you can glean whatever gems you need. But first of all, I went to Adam Green's house. Adam is Royal Crown Diamond who lives in Canada. He's my sponsor. And he taught me about golden turmeric in water. It's my new favorite drink. So I don't know if you guys have ever just put the golden turmeric in some water, crushed it up with ice. It is a delicious little afternoon pick-me-up. But happy International Essential Oils Day. How cool is that, you guys, that we're here together on the most special day of the year? I said to Bethany, are you sure you want me speaking to your team on International Essential Oil Day? And she said, yes, absolutely. So I'm super, super honored to be here. I absolutely love watching Bethany and you guys in your flow, and I mean, she is just such an inspiration to me. And I think that there's one thing that is so important, you guys, in our business is to find those people who inspire you and just follow them and like get that charge from them. And Bethany does that for me. So I'm really honored to be here and I'm excited to share my story with you guys. And yeah, on a scale of a 1 to a 10, everyone, go ahead and let me know where you're at right now. Bethany, don't even stress. Like if you have to hop off and take care of something, just go for it. We got this. And thank you for inviting me. I'm curious where everyone's at right now. I'm curious where you're at as far as what you're feeling about your business. and enrolling. So Bethany's asked me to talk about, she wants me to share my story, which I'm going to do. Oh, and also I'm wearing a hat because it's always the greatest way just to cover up that little hat head when you don't have time to get ready for a shower, right? So I hope you guys don't mind my casualness with you, but I have my lucky clover here. So feeling good about that. Okay. So on a scale of a 1 to a 10, 10 being on fire, 1 being the lowest, I hope I got the numbers right with you guys. We've got some 1s and 2s, some 4s, some 5s, some 7s, some 3s, 4-ish. Okay, awesome. 7. Okay, great. Yeah, this business is crazy, isn't it? Right? Like the high highs and the low lows. And I didn't know what I was signing up for when I joined network marketing, and I didn't realize how absolutely over the moon 100 I could be, and then how I could bounce back down to a 1. And that's just part of this business. And so I think knowing that is super valuable for all of us as we continue on our journey here. So I want to make sure that I don't leave out some parts of my story. So I'm just going to pull up my notes. And I do want to start by saying that, first of all, I know you guys get everything you need right here in this team. So my wish for you, my goal for you today is that maybe just one thing will spark a fire for you and take you from the number you typed in to like just the next number. And maybe you'll remember something I share and you'll implement it and it will bring you value. And that would be amazing for me. But I also want to say that I am definitely still figuring this out myself. In no way am I perfect. But that's the thing I love about our business is that we get to just grow and evolve and learn and become more aware of who we are to become our very best self. And I think, like, how amazing is that we actually get to work on being our very best self, and we get to do it together, right? And there's not a lot of people out there in the world who are working on becoming their very best self. So I'm going to give you guys some tips that I think will be valuable for you. But first, I want to just talk about me and who I am so you know why you should even listen to me. So I've been building a network. I live in Hawaii, first of all, and it's so funny. Every time I get on a Zoom, no matter what, no matter where, no matter what time of day it is, my dogs have been chill all day long and then they go ballistic. So literally, as I'm sitting here getting ready to get on with you guys, the pool man comes to my backyard and my dogs just go insane. So if my dogs start to bark, I apologize in advance. It's probably going to happen. But I've been building now in network marketing very full-time for 13 years. I actually started in the summer 13 years ago. And so I love building in the summer. Like, summer months for me are my best months. And so I'm going to share my story, but I just want you actually in the comments, I would love to know, you guys, what your story is about building in the summertime. Is it that, like, oh, this is where I'm focusing on my family, I'm taking my finger off the pulse, or there's nobody to talk to, everybody's on vacation, or, oh my gosh, no, I'm seeing so much growth right now, I love it. And so no matter what your story is, that's probably what's showing up for you, right? You feel overwhelmed with your kids. Hey, I totally get it. Actually, I don't have as many kids as you have, Bethany, but that's where I was 13 years ago. I was completely overwhelmed. Like, I could hardly breathe. So let me backtrack. 13 years ago, I was newly divorced, single mom for the first time, and found myself financially responsible for my daughter in a way that I hadn't had to provide before. And so it was a really scary time for me. And so I was waking up every morning and getting into work, and I worked at my daughter's school. And the great thing about my daughter's school is that by working there, my daughter got a free tuition. So that was amazing. It's like one of the best, it is the best private school in Hawaii. And I would have never been able to send her there had I not had a job there. So I was super, super grateful for that. But I was working 60 hours a week. And as a single mom with primary responsibility of my daughter, working 60 hours a week, I was pretty much failing in the parent department. I would get up in the morning. We'd get up at like 5:30 in the morning, get ready. I had to be at work at 7 in the morning. I'd get Haley, my daughter, to her classroom. She was 9 at the time. And actually, no, she was a little bit older than that. I'm really bad with years exactly. I've been doing this for 13 years and she's 24. So she was 11. Is that right? So I would drop her at her classroom. I'd go to my job and then I'd go pick up my daughter. But my real job actually started in the evenings. And so even though I worked all day, I also worked at night. So I was in the fundraising department and my committees would all come in the evening time. And that's when I would meet with the committees. So I'd get my daughter a quick bite to eat. She'd sit in the carpet of my office and do her homework. And I'd be in the meeting room next door. We'd get home maybe 10 o'clock at night, hop into bed, wake up the next morning, do it all over again. And it's so crazy how I still get emotional about this story because it was so long ago, but it was like, it was really challenging for us. And, you just do what you got to do to get by. And that's what I was doing. But I would wake up every single day saying, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to work today. That's how much I did not enjoy my job. So when my sister sent me an email letting me know she wanted to talk to me about her business, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the very beginning of Facebook, you guys. Like Facebook had just come out. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing one of those things. Okay, I'm not interested. But here's what happened, you guys. I actually went to Colorado where my sister lived with my daughter, and it was my niece's graduation. And so we were there, and she was talking all about her new business, and she was sharing the product and having all these people buy the product. And I was watching, and the product was $55. And I was like, I'll never be able to afford that. And as I was leaving, she and her sister-in-law actually gave me a bag of product, and I went home and thought, put it up on a shelf, started using it, and started having some amazing results. And so within a week, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm in, I want to do this. I started having the what ifs. So maybe you had the what ifs with Young Living before you joined. Maybe you're like, well, what if these products could really change my family's life? What if I could make a little bit of extra money? How many of you had the what ifs? Like, what if I could make a little bit of extra money? So I was like, these were my what ifs. What if I could make $500 a month? You see, I was actually about to move in with my mom. I was just at the place where my rent was $2,500 a month. You guys, I just pulled up a paycheck stub because I couldn't remember the amounts. My rent was $2,500 a month. My monthly check was $2,000. So I was $500 in debt every month just on my rent. And so I was at this place where I was at the very bottom of my savings account, and I was going to have to move in with my mom. And at the age of 40, the thought of moving in with my mom was pretty depressing for me. So I love my mom, but I didn't want to move in with my mom. And so the what if was like, if I could just make an extra $500 a month, that would be life-changing for me. And then I thought, what if I could actually be fun mom? What if I could show up on the weekends and be fun for Haley and have energy? And what if I could actually take my daughter on a vacation? So my sister had offered to take Haley away for the summer and take her to Italy, because one of the challenges of being a single parent is that it's expensive to put your child into a camp. And it's also really hard in Hawaii to find something that's not already full. So my sister offered to pay for Haley for the summer, take care of her. And so I had all of these amazing pieces in place for me to say, you know what? I don't want to live this life anymore. I want a different life. I want a life that I feel like I'm in charge of. And I want to wake up excited every day to live my life. And so I called my sister and I said, you know what? I don't know what this is, but I want to join. Sign me up. And she's like, really? I was the easiest enrollment probably she ever had. So, but I didn't know what I joined. I hadn't seen anything. I hadn't looked at anything. I just signed up. Well, she was off to Italy. So she put me in touch with the top earner of the company, and he gave me a checklist of things to do. And one of the things on the checklist was to read Jordan Adler's book called Beach Money. So if you haven't read Beach Money, it's a fabulous read. I encourage you to grab it. It's a quick read. And one of the keys that I took away from that book was that he went and had coffee with a new friend. I think he said every day, or at least that's what I heard, every day. So I was like, okay, I literally have no free time in my day except my lunch break. And on my lunch break, I would go to the pool at school and swim. So I'm like, I'm going to give up swimming in the pool, and I'm going to meet with a new friend every single day and share about what I'm doing. That was my strategy. So for those of you who are feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you don't have time, there are always those little nooks and crannies within our day where we can find the time, and it doesn't have to be a lot of time. My lunch break was an hour, so I had that hour. And so every single day, you guys, as I launched my network marketing career, every single day I would meet with somebody new in it's infamous, my infamous Thai restaurant up the street from my job. The plates were like $5 a piece. I actually would put people's lunches on my credit card, and we would sit there and we would talk. And by the time I left every day, and this happened every day, 5 days a week for about 3 months in a row. And so as I did this, almost every person that I met and had lunch with joined me. And so I didn't know what I was saying. I had no idea what I was talking about. I was brand new. I didn't understand network marketing. All I knew was that I was getting paid every time I had someone enroll, and that money was enough to keep my fire burning, that I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever tapped into. Why doesn't the whole world do this? And I'd sit in the boardroom. I'd be amongst these very well-educated private school board members, and they'd be talking about their child graduating from college, not knowing about a job they're going to get. I'm thinking, why aren't they doing network marketing? Everyone needs to do this. So it was about 3 months time, you guys, that after doing that every day, I was actually able to quit a full-time job that I thought I would be at for the next 20 years of my life. 20 years of my life, I was able to walk away. And can you imagine the looks on the faces of my colleagues when I let them know I was quitting a job that some people in Hawaii would honestly have done anything for? Like, they would wash dishes in the cafeteria to get a job at Punahou to put their kid through school for free. So I was looked at like I had 5 horns coming out of my head, like I was a total alien, crazy. And off I went. Off I went into this wild adventure of network marketing. And so a lot of questions I get about like that early stage is, okay, well, wait, first of all, what'd you say to people? And the reality is, it wasn't even what I said. It was actually about my excitement and my enthusiasm and the vision that I helped cast for my friend. And so it was different with every person that I sat with, right? I mean, back then, the tool I had was literally, this was when YouTube, you could only post, I think, like 7-minute videos at a time. So the business presentation I had was like 8 YouTube videos that I could play there in my lunch, but that wasn't the thing that got people to join. What got people to join was my excitement. And so how are you showing up as you build your business? Are you gave the number of where you're at right now, and I'm not sure what that reflects. Does that reflect your belief? Does that reflect your enthusiasm? Does that reflect you feeling like you don't have anyone to talk to? What does your number reflect? And maybe it would be a good idea for you to write down, okay, I put down I'm a 3. What's the 3? What's lacking? What's missing to get me to the 10? And within that 3, is it that I have low energy? Is that I feel overwhelmed by talking to new people, or I feel fearful? Is it that I feel like I don't know anybody new to talk to? And I think really becoming aware of those pieces that feel missing for you is the first step in you being able to move into building your number up to a 10, right? So that was the first question, like, well, what did you say? And it really wasn't about what I said. It was about my excitement, my enthusiasm. I'm going to talk to you guys in a little bit about how we can help you shift your energy, your excitement, your enthusiasm. But then the next question I got a lot of after, I started sharing and talking with people about feeling lonely. Okay, I'm going to come back through and read all of your guys' comments, and then we'll address a bunch of it. So the next question I got was like, okay, well, how did you know who to talk to? Who did you talk to? And my answer for that was, I talked to everybody. I talked to everybody. And so one of the things I want to encourage each of you to do is, so many times we think that we've already gone through our list. And the reality is I still in my phone have people that I have not talked to about Young Living, and shame on me, right? And so I talked to anyone and everyone that I could get a lunch with. And so sometimes it took me inviting 5 people to get someone to commit to the next day's lunch. right? So I literally would stack up my lunches day and day and day. I'd have like 3 out and be prepared for the next. And I did not break that streak. Did I spend weekends setting up the lunches? Great question, Bethany. I spent any free minute. I have to admit, I was actually doing my network marketing job on my regular job hours too. So I was sneaking, and this was, like I said, just when Facebook came out. So I started getting good at messaging people on Facebook. And I mean, I was just, here's the deal, you guys. I tasted freedom. And I wanted freedom more than I wanted anything else. And I wanted quality of life for my daughter more than I wanted anything else. The pain of inviting someone to look at my business was far less than the pain of me waking up and going to that job every day, and far less than the pain of me thinking about moving in with my mom. So I allowed that pain and that hunger to drive me and to not take my foot off the pedal of that build from the day I started until the day everything crumbled in that business. So let me tell you that story. So I rose to the top earner of that company in about, I don't know, maybe a year. I became the top earner of the company. I traveled the world. I never, ever, ever had to send my daughter on a vacation without me again. From that day forward, we actually have planned, even still yet, we plan our vacations together. It's really important for me because there's a lot of time that I'll never get back with my daughter. And so the time I can create now, the memories I can create now are worth millions to me. So, I built in that company for about 5 years. And here's the thing, you guys, about new companies. The thing about new companies is that a lot of them don't make it. In fact, most new companies don't make it. And my company didn't make it. And I literally woke up one day to find that my company decided that they were not going to stay in business anymore. So they actually decided to sell, and it was devastating for me. And at that very same time, now my story is kind of windy, so you guys have to stay with me here, catch all the little nuances, because every piece of my story has led me to here and is really important. Let me backtrack really quickly too, that I just hope you guys take this piece for you. My sister, even though she emailed me and said, I want to talk to you about my business, and even though she gave me product to take home and told me about the business, she told me about the business, right? And so it was a big lesson for me from the very get-go that, number one, I always, always, always share with people about both. I never make the decision for people that I'm not going to share that Young Living is a business, because who am I to decide for everybody that I'm sharing with that it's not right for them? And so I know there's this whole big debate. I just want to help people fall in love with product. And I'm not here to tell you how to do it a different way, but I'm here to tell you that it has worked for me, and it's why I'm here. It's why I'm here. Had my sister just given me a bag of product, I would have probably not even opened it, because I would have told myself, I can't afford this. So why try the first product, right? So, anyway, fast forward to the day I find out I no longer have $100,000 a month plus income. Shocking, right? At that very same time, I was already coaching with Richard, my husband. He was not my husband at the time. I had said I would never, ever, ever get married again. Been there, done that. So there's another clue for you guys. Never say never. But Richard and I had met, and he was actually my coach and really helped coach me through that whole event. And because of our connection and our relationship, we started to fall in love. And through falling in love with him, I was invited to go and speak at his company's event. And I went to speak at his company event, and I just fell madly in love with the culture that he had created. And it was exactly where I knew I belonged. And so I began building all again from scratch. I was not given anything because Richard was my boyfriend at the time. I actually built from the ground up and rebuilt, 100% rebuilt my business with new people, not the same people from my olden days, all new people. So I've had the opportunity to build a network marketing from the ground up a few times, and it's a lot of work, I can tell you. So, you know, a couple years go by and Richard and I get married. And so then by default, I become a company owner. And so I've also had the opportunity not only to build a network marketing, but I've had the opportunity to own a network marketing company. And then it's very, very windy. So I'll probably fast forward a bit, but Adam Green, who's our sponsor, is one of Richard's biggest proteges, for lack of a better term. He really stands behind this idea of building a 4-year career. He really honors Richard's values. We watched what Adam had been creating in Young Living. We had a lot of people, both of us, coming to us for coaching from Young Living. We were absolutely blown away by the results people were creating in Young Living. They were definitely not creating the same results in our company. And so we actually brought 30, I think it was 30 or 40 of our top leaders from our company to Young Living and help us make a decision, because we were at a crossroads. We knew that we would never, ever in our lifetimes be able to provide for people what Young Living was already providing right now. We knew we could never provide the incomes, the international growth, the incentives. And so we decided to give up on our big dream and move our dream into Young Living. And that too makes me emotional, because, you know, there's nothing more humbling than realizing sometimes your dream can change a little bit, but that's okay. And we had people behind our dream and vision who were so inspired by what Young Living was doing that we knew we were doing the right thing. Okay, but I want to mention something to you guys. I want to let you in on a little secret. The grass is no greener somewhere else. This is the greener grass. After building, so I'm now building in Young Living from the ground up again, right? Along with the handful of people who came with us from our company that we owned. I'm basically building all over again. And so I just want to share with you guys, literally, I know this from experience. I know this from having the privilege of having insights of what my husband does over 45 years of consulting and network marketing, and having conversations with company owners around the globe, and consulting with almost every company out there you could imagine, and talking to presidents and VPs of other companies. Me going through the experience of a new company closing. The grass is not greener elsewhere. The grass is the greenest here. And so I want to spark that thought for you, because it's easy. I know in my early years, I actually got, I wonder if I would do better over there. Here I was doing over $100,000 a month in income. And I looked at this group who seemed like they were having so much fun and so much energy. And I thought, wow, maybe it would be more fun over there. Like crazy thinking. And no matter where you go, there you are. And starting over is hard work. So I'm not assuming that any of you are at a place where you're thinking the grass isn't green here, but I want to set you up for that now, so that if that ever comes up for you, if that idea comes up for you, get in touch with me. Get in touch with somebody in your upline that you can have a clear, honest conversation with about the things here that really are amazing, like the fact of our global community, the fact that we have predecessors. For any of you who came to convention and got to see Joseph and Jacob speak, I was so moved and inspired by their leadership in their 18 and 22 years of life. I feel so good about being in the hands of everybody in Young Living. And so I hope that my passion and my knowledge and my previous experience can support you in feeling really good that you have your pole planted here as well. And there's nothing harder than starting over. Trust me on that one. There's nothing harder than starting over. So I'm just so overwhelmed in gratitude about what we're creating here. And I also want to ask you guys this, because sometimes maybe it's not even about going someplace else. Maybe it's about just network marketing is not my thing. It's hard. I don't know. So my question for you around that is, and like, I've been really thinking about this a lot lately. Like, it's really struck me, the power of this. The fact that you guys, what we're creating, the income we're creating, no matter how long it takes you to create it, is income that's going to not only pay you, but it's going to pay your kids and your kids' kids. You know, we've already seen in our consulting and coaching with other people, 3 generations of folks who have gotten paid out on a network marketing business. So what you create here is not just for you today. I don't know anything else out there that we all have access to unless you have a ton of money to put into investments, right? So that for me is like, that's my driving force. I want to leave that legacy for my daughter, and I want to leave something even more for her kids, especially with where we're headed and so much uncertainty. I feel so good about what I am putting together for the plan for my family. Okay. So anyway, that was a little side note. And I'm curious if anyone has any questions. I also work for another company, 7 years, started Young Living. It's a good company, but does not compare to culture, commitment. Yeah, there is nothing like the family culture here. I've never seen it anywhere. It's so beautiful. Like, I actually was on with my leaders in Poland yesterday, and they were sharing all about their trip to Croatia. And I cried. It was just incredible. There is no other company that does the things that Young Living does. No one. So tell you about expanding internationally. Okay, well, that is like, for me personally, I think that's the most fun part of our business. I'm not sure what you want to know about that. If you want to know how to do it, that's probably a whole nother conversation. So maybe I'll answer that at the end, if that's okay. So have you built your daughter a team, or are you letting her do herself? Oh, great question. I am, it's both. So I put her in and put some people under her, and then she's also building it. So that's 2 positions, right? Her position, my position. And she's 24. She's a young 24, and she went through the heartache of my first company. She expected to be only a network marketer for life and experienced that, and that rocked her. And so she's coming around with Young Living. I don't know if you guys have seen her reel she did on skincare. That was a big step for her. She also did a reel on the Feelings Kit. So yeah, she's coming around. And so that's the thing. You know, we all are on our own journey here. We're all on our own journey. And I want to encourage you that the comparison of others is the thief of joy, right? So if you look at a Bethany or a Sonia or whoever you're inspired by, and you're not there, and you compare and say, why am I not there yet? I'm going to encourage you to actually get really great at looking for the things in those comparisons that inspire you, instead of the things that allow you to feel badly. And so everything I share today with you guys is an opportunity for you to think about, first of all, awareness, because without awareness, there's no room for us to grow, right? Without awareness, there's no room for us to make a new choice to have different results. And so my goal for you today is to create a little bit of awareness so that maybe you can show up differently tomorrow. Okay, so Bethany actually asked me to talk about enrolling, and I'd love to know with you guys, who of you are actually how do you be more confident on social media with sharing Young Living? That's a great question, Erica. And I think the way you get more confident with anything is to do it and to do it and do it and do it and do it. Hey, I'm not sure who you are who just made it. Zoo, welcome. The way you get more confident in anything is to do it. Now, I by no means am the social media guru. To be honest, you guys, I do my social media more so to build credibility and to let people know what I'm doing. But I do most of my building, most of it, not all of it. I definitely get enrollments from some of the things I do on social media, but I do most of my building on person to person, face to face, Zoom to Zoom, or, you know, like one-on-one versus trying to grow my social media. So that's me. And so you get to decide what works best for you. I think one of the challenges that we see with people thinking they're going to build on social media is they get started on social media and they don't have a huge following. And then they watch someone really crushing it on social media and they think, I'm going to do that. Well, first you got to build your following, right? And first your following has to know, like, and trust you before they're going to say, I want to join you in something. So you got to be patient. And I think that's probably a big key in this network marketing journey of all of ours is learning to enjoy where you are right now, like learning to look for the gold and the joy and the fruits of where you are in this moment. So, you know, Bethany's in overwhelm. And what's the joy of the overwhelm? The joy is that she has these amazing kids and this amazing home and this amazing husband, right? And so not getting caught in the part that has us go in the downward spiral. And that's hard because naturally we are as human beings, we tend to go to the negative. It's just who we are. It's how we're programmed. And so it's work. And so everything I want to share with you guys, it just takes the willingness to test it out and go for it. Okay. So she asked me to share about enrolling, and really, in my opinion, enrolling is, it's like the bloodline, the baseline, the core of our business. So if you're not enrolling, you're not doing the business. And so if that makes you feel bummed, I'm sorry, but let's get you enrolling. And so, are you enrolling? Ask yourself that question. Are you doing the things needed to do enrolling, right? So what would that be? That would be inviting. Really, the way that you enroll is you invite. So enrolling and inviting go hand in hand. And so if you're not doing any inviting for people to take a look at what you're doing, then I imagine you're not enrolling. So I want to kind of talk to you about my philosophy of enrolling, because to me, enrolling is so much more than just having someone join you in Young Living. Like, I actually believe that enrolling begins with you. Enrolling begins with me. And so the question I'd love you to sit with right now is, are you fully enrolled? Are you fully enrolled? Are you fully enrolled in the team calls? You guys are here. So you're enrolled in the team calls. So congratulations. That's amazing. Are you fully enrolled in team strategy, whatever that may be for you guys? I don't know your team strategy, but are you fully enrolled? I know Bethany has amazing systems set up for you. So are you enrolled in those? Are you enrolled in team events? Are you enrolled in your own events? Are you enrolled in offering the biz? Are you enrolled in setting up a monthly goal for yourself so that you actually have something you're going for? Are you enrolled in keeping your word to yourself? Are you enrolled in growing the garden of your mind, which I'm going to actually show you a visual of, because I love it, because without growing the garden of our mind, it's almost impossible to be able to grow the garden of your business, right? Whatever is in your mind is what's going to show up for you outwardly. So are you enrolled in supporting that every single day so that you can show up with energy and enthusiasm and passion about building your business? And are you enrolled in getting better at the skills? Because the way you get better at the skills, like somebody asked, how do I get better at social media, is you just start doing it. You just decide it's okay if I stink at it, I'm going to stink at it, but I'm going to do it and I'm committed. And then, do you know how to support and launch your new people when they actually say, yes, I want to join you? And so if you don't, all you got to do is commit and recommit to getting good at all these things. And so then let's take a look at like the activity on the other side, which is, you know, actually getting ready to enroll people. So how big are you playing? Are you playing to live your greatest life? Like, I'm really right now caught up in this idea that every single one of us has the ability every single day to live our greatest life. I mean, we do. Every single one of us, no matter what your circumstances, no matter where you are, we have the ability to live our greatest life. And so what does your greatest life look like? And how can you right now be living your greatest life? And then I have this philosophy about your super suit. So I know like there's lots of good trainings about like, okay, time block this time to build your business, right? And hey, I'm all for that, because if you don't do that, then the most likely you're not going to do anything. But I actually don't have a border between my life and my business. I have a super suit, and it's my Young Living super suit. And inside my super suit is me, right? So Young Living is me. I am Young Living. So it's impossible for me to turn off Young Living, because it's who I am everywhere I go and everything I do, because it's just part of me, as it is part of you guys. But right now, you might have your super suit out in the laundry. I imagine a handful of you have your super suits in the laundry, and that's okay. Go wash it, put it back on, and zip it up, and don't take it off. And what do I mean by all that? That sounds so weird, right? Okay. Here's what I mean by that. And actually, Bethany exemplified it beautifully. She came and spoke to our group in Salt Lake City. And she was like, you know, one of my things is I'm always ready. And that's really having on your super suit. So, you know, she was in Salt Lake City. She had these little cards made up with bug spray and a QR code. And so everywhere she went, I'm not exactly sure how she approached people, but she had this card to share with people who she had conversations with. So it's not that you just go out and start handing out cards to people. I'm not saying that. Don't hear that. I'm saying that when you're in your super suit and you're out and about and you are in conversation and you are hearing and listening and gathering information and the time feels good and the time feels right, are you willing to just ask? Are you willing to break through all of the chatter that goes in your mind, right? Break through all of the chatter that goes in your mind. What if they say, no, I don't know what to say. I'm super scared. Are you willing to break through all of that? And then, and just ask anyway. And then I feel, you guys, like we make it so hard. I feel like we honestly, we make it so hard. So I'm going to give you an example. I did a coaching call the other day with a gal who she met a Royal Crime Diamond in the rough in Salt Lake City, like the most amazing girl. The girl actually took one of Richard's books. We saw her reading the book here and there. She asked questions. She was inquisitive. She was young. She was a firecracker. I don't think I've ever seen someone hurt that young be as engaged and curious. Now, not about necessarily network marketing, super curious about growing herself, growing her mind, curious about essential oils. So I get on a coaching call with the girl who was with us, who got her phone number, collected her details. And she asks me, do you think I should follow up with this girl? And I said, do you hear what you're asking me? Do you hear what you're asking me? Do you think you should follow up with this girl? Well, what do you think? And so I'm sharing this with you guys because we make it so much harder on ourselves. We torture ourselves when we don't need to. She knew the answer. She knew, of course, she should follow up with the girl. She was scared to follow up with the girl, and she was scared about what she might say might not be the right thing to follow up with the girl. So she pretended she didn't know if she should follow up with her, and she let 3 weeks go by without following up with her. Now, that girl was also in front of, 6,000 other Young Living members. So imagine somebody else probably followed up with her and enrolled her. So my point of sharing this with you is that we got to be willing to take a look at what gets in our way, the fear that we have that gets us stuck, and then be willing to address it. So I love that you said you're scared to follow up with people for fear you will seem pushy and annoying and salesy. Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about that, and then I'm going to come back. I want to talk to you guys about there's like 12 core fears that we have. And so I want you to think about, as I say these 12 fears, which fear is yours? Because here's the deal, you guys. When we shine light on our fear, like I love, Caitlin, that you owned it, because the more we own our fear, then the sun comes in and it melts it away. Like the fear doesn't hold power over us anymore. And so if we were to really unpack your fear and break it down even more, you'd realize that like it's actually not as big as you think. So I'm going to get back to you too. So here are the common fears that we all have. Fear of failure, right? Fear of failure. Hey, hello. Fear of success. How many of you have that? Now it's interesting because usually when people have a fear of success, most of the time, this has actually come from when you were a kid in your upbringing. Like maybe you heard like, oh, be careful. Don't get too big. Don't stand out too much, right? So what will people think? Usually that's the fear of success. So if that's you, that's okay. I just want you to take notes on which of these rings true for you. Fear of rejection. Oh my gosh, who wants to be rejected? Fear of not being good enough. Fear of not being smart enough. That's definitely, those are two of mine. Not being good enough, not being smart enough. Fear of not having enough. Fear of looking different. I mean, how different can we all look that we have decided to do this network marketing thing, right? Which is really not so different anymore. So many people do network marketing now. Fear of losing control. If you're really caught onto being in control of stuff, I imagine you don't feel like you have a lot of control here. Fear of being alone, fear of illness, fear of love, and fear of being insignificant. So here's the truth about fear, you guys, is to be human is to have fear. So it's not like there's something wrong with you because you have fear. And also, here's what's even crazier is that when we're facing our fear and we go out there and we're like, yes, I just did something. I faced my fear. I feel so much stronger. I feel so much more confident. I feel like I have actually grown. You know what happens? A new fear comes. So it's like this stepping ladder in life of new fears that are going to come up for us. And so I don't want you to be tricked that just by addressing your fears here, that new fears aren't going to come up, because they are. But maybe you'll start to become more aware and realize that we actually have a nanosecond when that fear arises in us to pause and notice it and make a new story and make a change and shine light on it and bring it to light and open it up and help it diminish. And so definitely fear is the biggest thing that gets in the way from us doing what we need to do here, right? You guys aren't lazy. I'm not lazy. It's fear. It's the fear of, okay, feeling insignificant, failure, rejection, not smart enough. Fear is the biggest thing that gets in our way. I fear not being able to carry the responsibility because of my scatteredness. Okay, awesome, Rebecca. That is so beautiful. So here's the deal. Like, don't think so far ahead into a giant team. Just focus right now on what you're doing here in this moment. How big is your team right now, Rebecca? I have so many people that worry about, what if I don't have it? What if I don't know what to do? And you've gotten to where you are now. You're a silver. You have enrolled to a silver. You're a leader. And so you have a team. And so just keep doing what you did to get to silver. And the magic, you guys, is in what you decide to put into your mind every day. Simply by us choosing what we put in our minds every day, we can definitely move the dial towards our most amazing life. So I'm curious, what are you putting in your mind every day, right? So I wanted to just touch on a little bit more about your super suit and getting out there. And, oh, I know what it was. I wanted to talk a little bit about like, how many of you feel like, oh my gosh, I've already talked to everybody. I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know how to talk to anybody. Especially right now in the summer, right? Like, such an amazing opportunity to be out and about and doing things. And I'm always amazed for myself how, like, I'll have been doing something the same way for 4 years, or I've lived on Lanai for 7 years. I live in this really small town of 3,500 people. I don't know how many people are in your town, but people are like, oh, you're so lucky, you have a big team. And it's like, no, actually, I've worked really hard to build this team. There's no luck here. I mean, there's like a little element of luck for sure, because when you bring in someone who's a firecracker, that has nothing to do with me. That's them. So there is that piece of luck. But hey, I asked them, right? So what I realized the other day for me, and what I want to encourage you guys right now, like maybe even if when you get off the phone, is how can you right now shake up what you're doing? How can you do it differently? Like, so if you have a play group, maybe you could create a new play group. I'll just share my example, and it might seem really weird and small to you, but I'm so excited. It's like, how did I not think of this before? So my daughter's been telling me all about, I know that infrared sauna is amazing. And I live by a hotel that I'm allowed to go access. And so I'm allowed to go in the sauna, in the steam room, and I've not used it for 7 years. I don't have to pay for anything. I don't have to get a service. I can just go in and use these services. And so I was like, oh my gosh, a spa where there's tons of other women, I'm going to start going into the sauna and the steam room every day. Now, this is me wearing my Young Living suit. So this is where this all ties together, because it's not about me being a creepy sauna like lady who's, you know, the Young Living creepy sauna lady, right? No, like I am literally just going to the sauna for my well-being and my health. And I have no idea what kind of conversations it's going to lead to, but I know for certain I'm going to meet people from all over the world in that dressing room. And so I'm so excited. I just thought of a whole new stream of places to meet people. Okay. So now you might be like, well, what the heck are you going to do if you go sit in a sauna and talk to somebody? This is where we allow ourselves to get really weird. And I've watched it. I've watched it the minute when I'm with my team. And so I want you guys to do a little reflection here. Ooh, is this me? Maybe that's me a little bit. And maybe I just need to really drop into, how do you show up when you go to a party? When you go to a party that has nothing to do with Young Living and your super suits in the wash at home, and you're like, I'm here and I'm too scared to talk to anybody about Young Living. So I'm just here. Oh my gosh. Hey, Maggie. Hey, Sonia. Hey, Tammy. Hey, all the people. You share, you have fun, you listen, you ask questions, you're engaged, right? It's no different. It is no different in what we do here. It is the exact same thing. And yet, the minute we get in our head that maybe this person might be someone who could build in Young Living, we get weird. And so the best way to actually change that, you guys, the best way to get out of being weird and hoping they're going to join you is to completely release that thought and just be in the moment and present to the person in front of you and learn about them. Like if you just stayed committed to learning about people, not I'm committed to going enrolling people, I'm committed to learning about people. Within 5 minutes, they will hand you their entire life and why Young Living is the best fit for them ever. Okay. They will literally hand it to you in 5 minutes, but that means you don't have an agenda that's what's happening. And so when I say I'm wearing my super suit with me at all times, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for her to say she has a neck ache. Here, let me give you this right now. Although I do have my tools with me for sure. Okay. What I'm saying when you wear your super suit is you're not turned off, so that when someone is talking all about how, they just got laid off and the recession is hitting them hard and they can't even put gas in their car, you're not like, oh my gosh, frozen with fear and not knowing what to say. You are coming from service and you're like, you're not going to believe it. You just shared all that stuff and I have no idea if this would be something you're interested in, but could you spend 20 minutes with me, or whatever it is that you share to help people see what Young Living is? You ask them if they have time to take a look at it, and you let them know that you care about them and you have something that could really support them, right? And I find that when you're coming from that place of true integrity of wanting to serve your friend and wanting to support them and having the solution, because that's the thing that I hope you are all enrolled in. And if you're not, you got to get some support in getting enrolled in. We have a solution. We have a solution that can help the millions of me's. So when you hear my story from the very beginning, I want you to remember that there are so many other people out there who wake up every single day saying, I don't want to go to work today. And you have the solution for them. Like, how cool is that? How amazing is that, right? So who's ready to put on their super suit and show up, and maybe show up a little bit differently than you've been showing up? And what can you think of that's a little bit different in your daily routine than what you're doing right now? So if you drive your kids to school every single day, maybe you actually get out of the car and bring them in and have conversations with the moms. If you, I know a lot of you are on summer, so if your kids are in camp, maybe you volunteer to be one of the counselors. How can you get in front of more people so that you're always growing your list, always growing your connections, always growing? And then here's the deal too. How can you serve people outside of Young Living? So I'm trying to think of, I just sent, I can't even think of what it was. I just sent someone something, has nothing to do with Young Living. Oh, I know. It's a video on lymph drainage. I have a ton of people who have COVID right now, ton in my life. And this lymph drainage video is amazing from the chiropractor. And so I sent them a video on lymph drainage, and I'm not like hoping that they're going to come back to me about Young Living, but I'm serving them. That's what a true network marketer does. You serve, you serve, you serve, you serve about articles, you serve about, you know, inspiring videos, you serve, you serve, you serve. And just by that, people start to pop out of the woodwork for you. What is this video? Where? YouTube? I'll get you guys the video. It's amazing. Okay, so with that, the more you avoid your fear, you guys, the stronger your fear comes. And what is so amazing about human nature is we actually thrive. Humans thrive on change and newness and adapting, and we thrive on that little thrill or of fear. We do. And yet we avoid it so much that it's so funny. It's like this contradiction. It's like we're avoiding what actually helps us to grow and live our best life. It's crazy. So I want to open it for questions, and then I want to just share a video with you guys around this idea of getting your no's, like getting depressed around getting a no, because if we're not getting no's in the business, then we're not doing the business. And I'm not saying go for the no. I know there's a book called Go for No, and I'm not about like, oh, how many no's can I get? But if you're not getting any no's, you're not doing the business. That's part of this journey. Part of the journey is weeding through the people who don't want to do this. It's okay that they don't want to do this. You're doing this, and you're going to find those people who do want to do this when the time is right for them, right? So I'm going to play a video, and then I'll open up for questions. Oh, and I want to show you an image really quickly as well. I love this image. Disabled participate. Oh, hey, can I screen share, Bethany? I don't know if you can help me do that.
Okay, try it now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is just a super simple picture, okay? Nothing big about it, but what I want to encourage you guys to think about is this garden is twofold. It's your mind, and it's you growing your business. So in order to have this beautiful, thriving, someone told me, I shared this picture with someone, and she said, you got to make those ningxia berries. And I was like, I love that. I'm going to turn the tomatoes into ningxia berries. But like your mind has the opportunity to look like a thriving, full, beautiful garden, whatever that looks like for you, or it has the opportunity to be decayed, full of weeds, right? And so what are you doing every day to make sure that you fill your mind with the best? Like, I got to tell you, I know this is part of our business, but scrolling through this is not something that is actually creating the garden of your mind. It's just not. And so even if you dedicate like an hour in your mornings to not being on the phone and filling up your mind, imagine the difference that that would be, not even just for your Young Living business, but for your life, right? So this is about, I want you to think about this visually for your mind. You could even take a screenshot of it. If it inspires you, you could look at it each morning and be like, I'm going to plant my tomatoes today. And then I want you to think about for your team, because so often, especially these days with the quickness, everybody is so used to getting things now, I want it now, I want it now, Daddy, I want it now. It takes a while to plant the seeds. It takes a while to water those seeds and have them grow. It takes a while to, learn how to inspire and breathe fire on the tomatoes that are going to really ripen and grow to the very top and not get attached to all the ones that might whittle away. And so I just want to have you guys think about that as you hop off tonight, that wherever you are, you're here still. So congratulations. Number one, pat yourselves on the back for showing up to the call. It's so awesome that you came. And then I want to, like, if you feel like you've reached adversity and brick walls, I just want to show you a story that I hope it really inspires the heck out of you. Do you approach this duo combo the same way online with people you don't know as you do in person? Okay, so that's a really good question, Sonia. So like I said, I don't build a ton online, but if somebody reaches out to me about, I don't know, let's say they saw a post about, I do all these funny things, like weird, interesting things. Okay, hormones. They reach out to me about hormones. I'd ask them a bunch of questions about what's going on for them. And I'd ask them, I'd be like, oh my gosh, are you in the 50s club? I'd find out what year they are. And then I'd find out what they do for work. I'd ask them a bunch of questions. So I'd go back and forth. It does not just come boom. I don't just barrage. I'd ask a bunch of stuff until there was an opening around, would they be interested in, do they know anything about Young Living as a business? Like, that's just something I would come out with probably is, do you know anything about Young Living as a business? I'm super jazzed that you're excited about ordering hormones. There is a business side. You could actually learn how to get your hormones paid for free. Is that something that would interest you? Could I send you, I don't know what tools you guys use, but hey, Bethany's in the 4-year career for women. She's probably also in the 4-year career for men, or not men, but the 4-year career. It's a great tool to share with people to help them learn about what our business is. And so that's the approach I would take. I never just go directly for, oh, let me get you the collagen. Oh, let me get you the power meal. Oh, let me get you, I'm like, I like to have conversation. I always put them into, always put anyone who is just product into our product page. And then so everyone's different too, right? There's a process like the gardening. You got to garden them. You got to love them. You got to nurture them. You got to grow the tomatoes with them. Okay. I want to share this video with you guys. It moves me. I think it's going to move you, and you might've already seen this. It's real short. So here we go.
She says, I think you could be the next Miss USA. I'm in the Army, okay? We don't do pageants in the Army. She then asked me to meet her at Starbucks the very next day before my next shift at Target. And apparently I was a pretty open-minded 19-year-old because I actually agreed to meet her the very next day. The next day she brought this foot-tall stack of pageant books and proceeds to convince me to enter into a state pageant. So 3 months later, I compete in my first pageant and I lose. I go back the second year, compete in the state pageant. I lose. Go back the third year, compete in the state pageant and lose. Go back the fourth year, compete in the same pageant and lose. I go back the fifth year, y'all. Compete in the state pageant and lose. But guess what? I go back the sixth year. Guess what happens? I lose. I called her on the phone and said, you told me I could be the next Miss USA. And she says, Deshauna, keep working, don't quit, keep going back. And in June of 2015, she passes away from leukemia. 6 months later, in December 2015, I win Miss District of Columbia, USA. And 6 months after that, in June of 2016, I become the first soldier to win Miss USA. At times, our purpose drops in our laps as if the heavens threw it by accident. I ask only one thing of you all today after you leave this building. Do not fear failure, but please be terrified of regret. Giving up is the birth of regret. After you walk out this door, you will receive 100 doors shut, slam in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. And we will fail a lot, and I mean a whole lot. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12. I love a good no. Please tell me no. Telling me no is like adding fuel to a fire that is now set ablaze because of your single no. So today I challenge you to fight, to work, to not stop here, to believe so heavily in your aspirations that you too will not fear the word no, but instead you will choose to welcome it.
Boom. How amazing is that? And you know what really struck me, you guys? What's her name? Oh, I'll have to, I know it just makes me cry too. I'll have to, let's see here if I can see it. She was Miss USA. I'll get it to you. I'm not sure of her name, but what struck me about her sharing is that here she is addressing college graduates, right? And telling them how many no's they're going to get. So no matter what we're showing up to in life, it's just a part of the process. It's not any different in any other career. So yeah, I just want you guys to walk away from tonight feeling like you've got this, you can do this, you're okay with the fear, you're okay with the no, you've got your super suit, you're going to put it on, you're going to, you know, lather yourselves in valor, and you're going to go make a difference in all of those other people's lives. Deshauna Barber, thank you, Grace. That's what her name is. Yes. Thank you everyone so much. I hope I answered all of your questions, and I know I've kept you a really long time. I know it's late there. So Bethany, I'll hand it back to you.
Kimmy, thank you so much. I literally am taking notes on my phone, like, like I can't even take it fast enough. Just that, wow, that be more terrified of regret than of failure, you know,
Right.
wow. Thank you, Kimmy. You guys unmute yourself on your way out. Say thank you to Kimmy in a loud, boisterous voice, and we appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Kimmy. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Kimmy.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.